Hello everyone, it's Keegan here. I'm back with another video once again, and it's time for another movie review video. Anyways, today we're going to be talking about three movies. Two of these I saw in theaters, and one of these I watched on DVD. So let's talk about them. So the first film we're going to be talking about today is 28 Weeks Later. This is the sequel to 28 Days Later. This film was directed by Juan Carlos Fresnadillo and was released on May 11th, 2007. Now, I talked about the first movie, 28 Days Later, in another episode that I did back in September when I was still doing episodes for Season 6. And I remember saying in that video I would review this movie around the time 28 Years Later comes out, which we will be talking about later. If you didn't see my review of the first movie, I'll leave a link to that video in the description, and I think in that video I reviewed Napoleon Dynamite as well. Anyways, let's get on with it. Now this movie takes place 6 months after the first movie ended, although it doesn't have anything to do with the characters from the first movie. It has a new story and new characters. So this film takes place 6 months after the first movie ended. The rage virus has been eradicated, and Great Britain is starting to rebuild itself one step at a time. But then one day there is a woman who gets rescued, who turns out to be infected with the rage virus. So, and like that, hell breaks loose. The rage virus starts spreading again, and people start turning infected and start killing people and infecting others. And it follows these two kids that are trying to get out of Great Britain with the help of some U.S. Marines, with a U.S. Marine who is trying to get them to safety and out of Great Britain. And without giving away too much, that's basically what the story's about in a nutshell. Now, I thought this was a pretty good sequel. I liked it for what it was, but it definitely wasn't as good as the first movie. And I kind of wish it had more to do with the characters from the first movie, but it doesn't. They're not in this movie. But it is what it is, because the first movie kind of ended off on a cliffhanger for the characters, but in this movie, it doesn't pick up with those characters. It just has a different set of characters, but that's totally fine. But it was a pretty good sequel. I loved the opening scene in the movie where Robert Carlyle's getting chased by all the infected when he's making his way to a little boat. That part was epic, and it really sets the tone for the movie. And there were also a lot of good parts too, like the sniper, the underground train station near the end of the movie. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. And I also really like the music. And they reuse some of the music from the first movie from what I remember. Maybe just one of them. I don't exactly remember. But I do like the music in this one. And the characters are pretty good too. But I wish that this movie had more to do with the characters from the first movie. But again, that's totally fine. While 28 Weeks Later may not be as good as the first film, I still enjoyed it for what it was. But other than that, I don't have anything else to say, so I'm giving 28 Weeks Later a 7 out of 10. And now we move on to 28 Years Later, the new film on the franchise, which just came out last week. I saw this movie last Sunday. This movie was directed by Danny Boyle, and it was written by Alex Garland, who both of which worked on the first film, although for some reason they didn't work on the second movie. I think because Danny Boyle was in the middle of directing Slumdog Millionaire at the time, or I think it might have been Sunshine. I can't remember, but he was busy working on a different movie, which was why he didn't direct the second movie, I believe. Now, this movie got a lot of mixed reactions. Some people like it, some people don't like it. For me, I thought it was alright, but we'll get to more on that in a moment. We'll just go to the story pretty quickly. As the title suggests, this movie takes place 28 years after the first and second movie, though I'm not exactly sure if the second movie was canon or not. So it follows a group of survivors on a small island on the other near mainland Britain. The infected have completely taken over mainland Britain, and it's pretty much not safe to live there at all because there's infected left and right and some survivors and a lot of dangerous people out there. But then one day, one group leaves the small island on an expedition around the mainland and discovers there's a lot of secrets and survivors on the island. And without giving away too much, that's basically what the story is about in a nutshell. To be fair, I was really looking forward to this movie. I loved the first 28 Days Later. It's one of my all-time favorite movies. Now, I didn't downright hate this movie. I thought it was okay. I was really disappointed with it, but I didn't downright hate it. I mean, it had a lot of good parts. It was well made. It was well shot. It was pretty bloody, pretty gory, and there were some good parts. But I don't know. I just wasn't a fan of this one as much as the first one. But it was okay. I mean, it could have been a lot better. I mean, I can totally understand why some people don't like it. I mean, I didn't downright hate the movie. I thought it was okay, but it could have been a little bit better, but it was alright. Ralph Fiennes was great in the movie, even though he didn't really appear until near the end of the movie. I kind of wish he had more screen time. I liked his character in the movie. And the boy that played one of the main characters, named Spike, I forgot his name, but he did a really good job in the film. And I think he kind of carried the whole movie too. Like, he was really good in the film. But I forgot his name, but he did a really good job in the movie. And I like the music in this one. They actually reused some of the music from the first movie, and it goes really well with the film. And it's definitely maybe the most visually stunning film of the franchise so far, but it's nowhere near as good as the first one, but I thought it was okay. And apparently this movie is the start of a new trilogy, and there's going to be a second movie coming out next year from what I hear, and hoping that one will be better. But other than that, I thought this movie was okay. It was pretty disappointing, but it could have been a lot better. It's not the worst movie I've seen this year, but it was really disappointing to say the least. And that ending too. What the fuck was that ending? I don't want to spoil it, but if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I can't really think of anything else to add. 28 years later, it was okay. It could have been so much better. But other than that, I'm giving 28 years later a 5 out of 10. And the last movie we're going to talk about in this video is a pretty odd one, to say the least. Different from what I would normally talk about here on the channel. And it is a 1987 straight-to-video film called Redneck Zombies, which was directed by Persiles Lunis. What a weird name. And this was a movie that was released by Troma, the company that's responsible for movies like the Toxic Avenger movies, Poultrygeist, and a couple of other movies. I've actually been getting into a lot of Troma movies recently, and this is one of the ones that I've watched as of recently. I actually saw this one at the Metro Cinema on Monday, I think it was. And I saw this movie completely blind. The only thing I knew about it was that it was a movie released by Troma themselves, and this was a movie that was shot it was shot on video. And I gotta say, watching this movie in theaters, knowing it was all shot on video, was pretty surreal to say the least. And well, we'll get to the story first, and we'll get to more on my thoughts on it. So this movie takes place somewhere in America. It's not said, but it could be in Texas for all I care. But Anyways, there's this barrel of toxic waste that goes missing. Well, actually, it falls out of a military truck, and the soldier driving it tries to get it, but then he goes there unarmed, and then some redneck armed with a gun makes him go away, and he basically keeps the toxic barrel, and then he sells it to some other rednecks because his dumbass thought it was like a distillery barrel or some shit for moonshine. But the rednecks in this movie aren't too bright, and they make a drink out of the toxic waste. And then soon after that, when they start selling it, all the people who drink it start to turn into zombies. And, well, you know the drill. You know where it goes from here. Now, this movie is very, very low budget. It pretty much explains why the whole film was shot on video. But the way it is shot, what they did for what it's worth for its budget actually looks really good too. And the gore effects in this movie, like, holy shit, the gore effects in this movie look so good and really impressive. It's probably one of the best gore effects I've seen in a low budget horror movie like this, although it's more of a horror comedy actually, but still, the gore effects look so fucking good. And when you see the zombies eating somebody, it's just like, holy shit. It's like they're almost really eating somebody. It's just, the gore just looks so good too. And the movie was shot over the course of over 32 days on weekends over the course of a single year from what I looked up on IMDb, which is pretty impressive. And other than that, I actually thought this movie was a lot of fun. It's not exactly a masterpiece, but I thought this was a great, so bad it's good type of a movie. And at the time of me making this video, out of all the trauma movies I've seen so far, this one's probably my favorite trauma movie I've seen at the time of me making this video. It's hilarious, it's silly, it's really gory, it's very funny and stupid at the same time, but man, is it so much fun to watch. I'd say if you watch this movie with a big crowd of people and have a couple drinks, you'll have a ton of fun watching it. And seeing this movie in the theater, knowing that the whole movie was shot on video, is pretty surreal, and just it was a lot of fun, and there was a lot of people at the movie when I saw it. And other than that, it's no masterpiece, but it's so much fun to watch. And the other trauma movies that I've seen at the time of me making this, for those curious, are Blades, Poultrygeist, which I thought was hilarious. What's the other one? Night Beast, which I thought was fun. And this one. And at the time of me making this video, this is currently my favorite trauma movie that I've seen so far. But other than that, if you like movies that are silly and dumb on purpose, you might like this one. I honestly thought this one was a lot of fun to watch. Anyways, I'm giving Redneck Zombies an 8 out of 10, which is a pretty rare rating I would give for a movie like this, but 8 out of 10, I had a lot of fun with this one. Well, that wraps up another edition of Keegan's Movie Reviews. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, if you enjoyed the video, feel free to leave a like, comment below, and if you're new to the channel, feel free to subscribe. And more videos will be coming out soon, so stay tuned for more videos. Actually, I might be doing another video later on today, probably in the evening. I'm not sure if I will for sure, but we'll see. But in the meantime, thanks again for watching. Hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you all later. Have a good one, everybody. Peace. Bye-bye.